My name is Alexander Gibb. I'm working as Director of Revenue and Reservations here in the Baur. I'm here meanwhile since over 5 years. The Baur is a central located city hotel directly at the shores of Lake Zurich. Actually one of the oldest still family owned hotels and the 6th generation, built in 1844. We were facing the problem, or more the issue, that we saw that more and more guests were actually booking through OTAs, through online travel agencies, even though they have booked before, for example, with us. And I have been on a distribution forum with the leading hotels of the world, and one from Triptease was there and was introducing the product for over 2 years ago now. And he was telling me about the whole concept, and that kind of struck me right away, because I thought that would be a great opportunity to get closer to the guest, to get direct contact to the guest, and that was basically the main decision why we choose to. There were actually a few facts. We have looked around basically through all the world and got different offers, and the points which really convinced us was, first of all, the great support we had from the first second. So even though we were writing an email or had a phone call, we got a reply within hours or even within minutes. And also the approach from Triptease, that it was a product which kind of was a startup, and the startup was evolving and evolving. So you guys, Triptease, did not kind of stop, did not say, okay, this is what we would like to achieve and these are the solutions we have. What I really experienced in the last 2 years is that the product, how should I say that, gets more and more features, goes deeper into the material, and that is exactly what we hoteliers love, or what we at the Baur love, that you just move forward, move onwards, and that's why we choose Triptease. We actually use all parts of the platform. I think the most engaged one from our employees is obviously the chat function. Back in the days when we implemented the chat function, I think we were the first here in Zurich who had a live chat implemented for our guests, and we were guessing like that we get 2 or 3 chats per day maximum, and one of our agents can just do it while working. And then all of a sudden we realized that we got around 300 chats per month with our guests, and they were not even asking specifically about reservations. It was reservations, I would say 20 to 30%, but they were asking all kind of questions about the hotel. Where do I find the menu for the restaurant? Which rooms are twin bedded? Where can I park close to the hotel? When will the next event take place? And my agents kind of developed themselves to not reservation agents, but more to hotel agents. So they had to gather all this knowledge from all the different departments, which kind of added benefits to them as well. And at the same time, we realized that in departments where we had a lot of phone calls, for example, the conciergerie, where less and less phone calls were coming in because it was always made directly through the chat. That is absolutely one point I love about Triptease. The other one is the rate parity tool. And actually at the beginning it was only me using it. I had different rate shoppers and was always looking all around to see if everything works fine, if the channel manager transmit the rates through all channels correctly. But more and more the entire team came in place. And the first thing what they do now in the morning is when they come to work, they actually open the platform. They're kind of eager to discover any kind of rate parity, and then basically to track them down. Where is it coming from? Why did it actually happen? And it's like kind of a challenge for the team to really find out. And that is how we reduce basically under OTA, under CAT rate to under 1%, which is I think quite good. At the moment we are at 0.6%, and therefore we have actually rate parity throughout the world, or even better rates directly, of course, on our homepage if you book directly. Personalized service is for us the most valuable thing at the Baur. I always say you can have the most beautiful hotel, and the hotel is just the hardware. To make a good hotel, a great hotel, you need the stuff, and the stuff is the software. And this is all about guests, this is all about taking care of your stuff, and only if you have the right interaction with the guests will actually feel personalized, they feel engaged, they feel the remarkably uncommon what they are looking for here at the Baur. And therefore we really build up relationships with our guests, and therefore we always want to be very close to them. So if they have any kind of question, they can basically reach us on their way. They can still write us a fax, they can still write us an email, they can use the chat, they can call us. We just want to give them, nowadays, especially in the 21st century, all opportunities they are out there in order to communicate with us. with us. And that starts from reservations, but that also starts if you just walk in the Beau Lac, that you have the concierge who recognizes you by name, that you have an easy check-in without a lot of paperwork, that you get personal guidance to the room, and that the staff really recognizes you once you're part of the Beau Lac family. I would say our relation with Triptease is also like I just said, Beau Lac family. It's more like a family feeling. We had great support whenever we had any problems. I mean, I have to say there were no real problems, but slight changes in the platform you have made or any advantages there were, we got immediately reports, we got immediately responses, and yeah, that was great. I mean, I have worked through the last 15 years with a lot of partners. Sometimes you have ticketing systems where you open a ticket and you have to wait 1, 2, 3 weeks actually to get a reply, and then the issue kind of resolved, or you resolved it by yourself. But with Triptease, we really found out you have a response within the latest 24 hours, and then with the right answer. And even though if it might take maybe sometimes 1 or 2 days, they at least get back to you right away and say, okay, we are working on it, we are looking deeper into it, we can't solve it immediately, but we will get back to you as soon as possible. As I said from the beginning, personalization. That is the key to success. As I also said before, hardware is not anything. You need a perfect hardware, but you need the right people at the right place. Here at the Beau Lac, we always have a great look or good look at the staff mix which we have. We have a lot of employees which are here 30, 40 years. Our guest relation manager is working for us for 43 years. So he knows a lot of generations by the guest. Even I, when I started here back in the years as front office manager, he could tell me stories and say, Alex, you know that? I met him already as a child. Now he's father, and these childs are coming. That and that are his preferences. That and that is what he likes. And that really makes very great service. Our doorman staying with us, Hans, for over 30 years at the Beau Lac. He knows every of our repeat guests, but not only the repeat guests, also the guest who's coming the first time. Just gives them this warm welcoming. On the other hand side, you need the fresh, motivated, educated staff if it comes, for example, to new technologies. And this combination of well young educated people and the educated older generation, where we can really learn from their experiences, what they have learned over the last 40 years. No hotel school can teach you that kind of behavior. I think that makes the perfect Beau Lac experience. The plans for 2019 for the Beau Lac are obviously to raise direct bookings. That is, I think, every revenue manager would say that. We really put a big effort on that. We have started a year ago also with the meta search and slightly see results on that, but the Zurich market is always a bit tricky because you just can't compare it with Paris, London, New York, because we only have a very few 5-star hotels here. As well, we are constantly renovating the hotel. As I said before, we are just doing our corner suites, we are doing our deluxe double rooms, therefore we also have a slight raise in prices. We also changed our whole pricing policy actually, and this only a few weeks ago, where we went up on all OTAs with the rate and lowered the rate on our homepage, and we really want to see how the strategy is actually working out. Since we only started this a few weeks ago, kind of have to see how the results are in 2019 after a longer time period. The Zurich market is quite unique because we work as partners. We have, for example, the Dolder Grand, which is more a resort hotel, which is a little bit outside of Zurich. We have the Hyatt, we have the Storchen and the Widder, which are more smaller boutique hotels, and we're really working hand in hand. It's not a fight like you see on other distribution places, where you kind of like to undercut the rates or seeing each other as competitor. We don't really see each other as that. We kind of try to work together to strengthen the destination Zurich. We are working together if it comes to group requests, for example. Not that one hotel is turning it away and maybe the decision maker does not choose Zurich and goes to a different destination. And that is, I would say, really destination management, which we 5-star hotels are trying to achieve. And that is then the best for everybody. Even though if the other hotel gets the group, I'm happy. We get the overflow, vice versa around. And I think that is the success of each distribution, or what each revenue manager should aim for or look for, to work together in a team for a destination, rather to work against each other and to have a look, oh, the hotel next door just went down 50 Swiss francs with the rate, what should we do? That's actually not the way how you achieve a good RevPAR. I think Triptease actually has quite a big impact on the hotel industry, especially when we started 2 years ago with Triptease. We were the only ones actually doing it here in Zurich, and I think even the first one in the five-star segment in entire Switzerland. And I was spreading a little bit the word, and I was talking to my colleagues, and at the beginning they were, a chat function, we are a five-star hotel, does that really fit? But then I saw the successes, and all of a sudden I saw the chats popping up basically on all the homepages, and they are using the tools, and some of them actually even stopped by to have a look, how does it really work? And they were quite amazed, and I think the effort Triptease is doing in strengthening the platform and in inventing new futures will really give them a success for the future. The direct booking movement is a thing which really came big into place since 2 or 3 years, when the big chains actually discovered that they should start campaigns for direct bookings. We have seen it with Hyatt, we have seen it with Marriott, who are trying to strengthen their loyalty programs, and also we at the Baur are really focusing on that. Since we are part of the leading hotels of the world, we have our own loyalty programs, which we even just enhanced with the new Leaders Club program, which we have for all leading hotels of the world. And I think it will be more and more important to convince the guests that direct booking is the best for the guest itself, because then we're actually able to provide the best service. We all know that online travel agencies don't really give you the details about the guests which you as a five-star property would need. It starts with the email address, which is encrypted at booking.com, so you can't really even communicate with them, one of the major keys in personalization in the five-star hotel business. So I think as we spread the word, as more guests will realize what advantage they would have when they book directly with the hotels and what kind of service they actually achieve. And we also try to tell guests who, for example, book through an OTA one or twice, and we see that and we actually track that, then we would approach them and say, you have quite special requests in regards of your room. If you book directly with us, we can actually fulfill them because you are first priority. And as soon as more guests are realizing that, as stronger we can get all together.